Let's look at this. Hello, everybody. It's Pearlo Wisdom here from BPAL Picks. Hope you waited a little bit while I got everything all set up here. All right, let's look at the games from last night and how we did. Wednesday. I'm going to be giving you all the picks in the land. You get lucky. I don't do this all the time, right? So if you want all my picks, I'm up 20 units in the past 2 days. Just go to beatballpicks.com. I'll give you the link. If you want, just comment in the comment section. Let me know. I'll give you the link. I got a new package there where it's a lower volume package. And you can have it for 40 bucks a week, $99 a month. You get about 2 to 5 picks a day. Did pretty well the last 2 days. Green most of the time. So if you like to a little money and support my family, you can do that sort of thing and just have fun. All right, so let's look at Wednesday's games. Okay, Senators versus Islanders. I had the Senators. And I got talked into, hey, Kyle, how you doing, buddy? I got talked into the over of that game, and that pisses me off because it was one of the few that I missed. But the Islanders can't score. They just can't score. I was thinking, I can't believe I got talked off of it, really. I liked the Islanders team total under. I didn't take it. So this one kind of pissed me off. It was a pretty boring game. Well, lots of shots, but I don't know. I didn't find it to be that great. Varlamov, fortunately for the Islanders, they have great goaltending, but I'm on the sell for. Well, going by shots, it should have been over. Really, 38-36. That's probably the first time. Might be one of the few times all year, like Talbot, getting 36 shots on Talbot, if you can't score more than one goal, there's something wrong. It's Talbot. Talbot's horrible this year. So a couple of those go in, and you're probably looking more like an over here because things would have opened up a little bit and stuff like that. So it wasn't a terrible lean, but I mean, I got talked off of it. I was under all day, and then I got talked off of it. I should never let people talk me off a bet, ever. Oh, whatever. Not found. Never let somebody talk you off a bet. And there was a few people, actually. It was a few people, and I got talked off of it. Oh, there's Jack getting on about Lou Lamoriello's fault. I think it's just a team philosophy fault. How do you explain it? Like, they're so loyal. The Islanders are so loyal. You got a guy like Bailey who, through all the arena problems and all that kind of stuff like that, the guy stuck with him. He didn't ask to be traded. And they just stay so loyal to their players. It's hard for me. It's really like, it's commendable to be loyal, I suppose, but I suppose in this NHL, loyalty is just not a thing. They've been too loyal to that fourth line, and the whole idea of defense wins and winning by one goal and all of that, that's basically what Lamoriello thinks. And in some ways, I guess you can agree with that. But let's look at the Islanders lineup here. They're too old to do that, though. That's the problem. In a full 82 schedule, I don't think there's a team that can play like that all year long, and have much gas left at the end of it. Picking up Palmieri at $5 million. I mean, he's 31 years old. He's not even that old, but he seems to play a lot older. So, Anthony Beauvillier still hasn't panned out. Everybody thought his offense would fly under the new coach, and it really hasn't. It's just so much loyalty to guys like Bailey, bringing Parise in, bringing Palmieri in. and not having Noah Dobson is huge. Like this lineup has this getting Pellich back helps for defense, but it's scoring that matters here, and they just don't have enough scoring in this lineup. And they have so many old players on big contracts that they're capped out. I don't know what you're going to do. You're not trading Kyle Palmieri. Nobody's taking that shit. Nobody's taking Josh Bailey. Not in a million years. What do you do to fix this roster? I don't know. I really don't know. I think you got to help you nail draft picks, and I don't know what to do with this roster. Who are you going to trade? What do you like? I suppose you go out and get, I think you just got to give up the ghost and say you're not good enough. I think that's all you got to do. You just got to give up the ghost, say you're not good enough to yourself, because this team isn't going to beat Colorado. This team isn't going to beat Boston in the playoffs. It's not beating Tampa Bay. So why are we swimming in this shit? Because of loyalty? And like Lamoriello's the kind of guy, like, these people have families. And the good thing about loyalty is if they ever do free up cap room, you can bring players in because they know they're going to be loyal to you. But it's a weird dichotomy. And, you got Sorokin there that'll always keep you in. But as it stands, they're a bubble team. And even if they wanted to rebuild, I don't know what they're doing. What are they going to do to rebuild? Nobody's taking Palmieri, like I said. $5 million to 2025. Nobody's taking that. Nobody's taking Josh Bailey. Even if it was his last year of his contract, nobody's taking that contract. So how are you going to get draft picks when you can't even trade anybody? You can't, I don't know. Very weird. If you're going to do it, I suppose you'd have to start on your defense. And, if you're going to tear it down. You're going to have to start with the defense. Pellich has a no trade clause. You're not getting much for him. How about Frolic? Full no trade clause. Like they're hemmed in here. Maybe you get something for Varlamov, but they're hemmed in here. They can't even rebuild. Like, there's no direction that this team can go, as far as I'm concerned. But what are you going to sell, dude? Jacket, what are you going to sell? No, you got Adam Pellich with a no movement clause. Full no trade clause. So he can choose wherever he wants to go. You have no leverage whatsoever. Ryan Pulock, same thing. No leverage whatsoever. You'd have to trade Barzal, who also has. You'd have to trade Barzal. Yeah, they're like, even if they wanted to rebuild, they're getting nothing back in return. Like, you're literally just going to give players away and suck for a very, 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 very long time. Like, I would say a rebuild for the Islanders right now. I would say a rebuild for the Islanders right now would be like 10 years. 10-year rebuild. And you got to trade Sorokin. There's no use having Sorokin. That's one thing you could get a whole shitload for. You'd have to trade Sorokin for sure. And he's probably got a full no trade clause, so. Maybe not. No, he's up after next year. No, it's not. He didn't come in and do, like, he's part of the problem, but before he got there, it was already trash. Like, you got to, I'd say the problem here is ownership. And what are you going to do about that? Like, their philosophy is obviously just to hang on and build a wonderful little fantasy land for everybody to play in. We try really hard, and, we have a great culture, but we don't have good players. So that's what I would say. Sorry to be an Islanders fan. I mean, it really was. I didn't pick them to make the playoffs this year, and so I'm not surprised, but all right. No, I don't want to look at that yet. We're looking at the games from yesterday. Leafs versus Rangers. I had the Leafs last night, and I had the under, so that worked out well. The New York Rangers. We'll talk about the New York Rangers here a bit. I don't like this team. I didn't like it in the beginning of the year. I said that they make the playoffs one round and out. I don't like, again, get back to philosophy. Ever since Drury took over this team, he has been butchering the shit out of it. Let's do it this way today. We're going to look at everybody's rosters and say, I think he's been butchering the shit out of this team ever since. Gorton did a lot of fine work. And again, this was ownership philosophy idea. They had something happen where Panarin had to jump on the back of Wilson, if you remember that. Wilson beat a few guys up. And I guess the owner must have been embarrassed by it or something. And then they fire everybody. They bring Drury in, who's basically a yes man for the owner, it seems. And maybe he has the same philosophy as him as well. And they just completely overreact by bringing in guys that can't play 5-on-5. They trade Buchnevich for like Sammy Blais and a second pick. Sammy Blais is pure ass. He doesn't have NHL talent at all. Oh, he can go around and hit people. I mean, I can find somebody to do that. I don't need to give up Buchnevich to get a guy like that, for the love of God. Ridiculous. And a guy that can play better than him. They gave Barclay Goodrow $3.6 million. Honestly, I don't really mind that. He's a really good defensive forward. It's a little high, but I don't mind that deal. But Vinny Trocheck at 5.6 until 2029, that was ridiculous. I don't know what the heck they were thinking with that. Vinny Trocheck is not good 5-on-5. He's very overrated defensively. He's not stupendous offensively, and he's only going to be decline. Now this isn't really Drury's doing, but I don't know if he would have did it any different. I mean, I was saying to begin with, like, Alexis Lafreniere shouldn't have been playing in the league. At least the first year he was in there. I still think he's going to be fine. He's 21 years old. He's putting a guy that's putting up 22 points. I know he was a first overall pick, but he was like what Byfield is over in LA. He had to learn that you can't rely on your size to outmuscle people to score in the NHL. You got to play a different way. And to do that in the NHL, trial by fire from the time you're 18, it's just not wise. Look what LA did with Byfield. And, they brought him up for a bit. They showed him, okay, this is what you got to do. See what I'm saying here? You can't do this. You can't do that. So we're going to send you down in the minors for a year or so. Take all the information you got, and we're going to help you grow into an NHL player. They didn't do that with Alexis Lafreniere. They brought him in and they kept on telling him what he's not supposed to do and then sending him back out there. Meanwhile, this guy's getting beat up all over the freaking place. It's affecting his confidence. Like a player can kind of forget how to score when you're focusing so much on how to do all the other stuff. Um, very difficult situation. The thing is, he's so talented, it might end up being okay. And I love Kako as well, and Hedel. But I have a feeling he's going to do something with those guys. I have a feeling he's going to do something with those guys. So it's not all Drury, though. I mean, the Mika Zibanejad, I didn't really like that either. I mean, he's just, again, they're Panarin, poor 5-on-5. Zibanejad, poor 5-on-5. Kreider, poor 5-on-5. Trocheck, nah, not great 5-on-5. And then these kids that have to learn how to play 5-on-5, and I think they really want to, but they don't have anybody to learn from because everybody above them doesn't know what they're doing. So I didn't like it. I didn't like the Rangers this year, and I love their defense, of course, except for Trouba. That was a terrible contract. But Miller, Fox, and Lindgren, great. Braden Schneider is going to be a beast. Got no problems with that. And, of course, you have your savior there in Shesterkin that keeps you in all the time. But overall, overall, I'm not a big Rangers fan. Now, that being said, so I mean that comes into play when I'm making picks, especially against a Toronto team at home. Now I know they kind of scraped it, they scraped by in this game, but that's the thing. Is I even think Toronto knows they can scrape by against the Rangers because this team is way overrated. The shots were there, but the Maple Leafs had the better of chances, no doubt about that. Good to see Hedel is starting. Good to see that they did hold on to Hedel because he could be quite the savior there for that team, both offensively and defensively. Great pickup. But anyways, I had the under. And I had Toronto last night. Hurricanes versus Stars. I had the Hurricanes, and I had the under in this game, which was a little bit spooky, but they do that all the time. In fact, I was so dialed in, I wanted to take over 1.5 first period, but I didn't have the balls to do it. And then under in the game, because the Hurricanes do this all the time. The scoring happens in the first 2 periods, and then they just shut it down, wait for their spot, and put it in. I did get scared when Anderson hurt again. Anderson hurt again. I'll tell you, I don't know. You guys have been listening to me a long time. If you remember what I said when they picked up Anderson and they picked up Ranta, I was like, why would you roll the dice with your goaltending like this? Why? I know Kochetkov is going to be great. Okay, I get you. But, I mean, this team's ready now, or should be. But their goaltending is going to let them down this year. I'm not picking the Canes to win the cup with this goaltending, even if Anderson is in. If Anderson does come back, there's a really good chance he's not going to make it through the playoffs without getting hurt. Ranta has a penchant for getting hurt as well, and he's not good enough to win a cup. Sorry, there's not. No way. So I'm not taking the Hurricanes this year. I have no futures on the Hurricanes to win a cup until they do something about their goaltending. Personally, if I were them, and I did a trade video of this, you might want to check it out. Vejmelka is apparently out there in Arizona. I'd be all over that. All over that. And then if Kochetkov works out well, you can deal with it after. But you put Vejmelka on the Hurricanes, now you're a cup contender. Now you're a cup contender. But until they do, I don't see it. As far as the Stars, weird situation going on with the Stars. They're just going through a little bit of a lull right now. They're in a spot where it's maybe it's just because the break is coming and they're kind of taking it down a little bit, so kind of pacing themselves a little bit. My leaning is that they are, because they're just not playing with the same fervor as they did to start of the year, which is common, which might not even be a bad thing to do, to tell you the honest truth. DeBoer is an experienced coach, and he knows that you can't play full bore for a full 82. They did put up a good fight against the Canes, but I just think the Canes are the better team right now, even with the poor goaltending. So I ended up taking the Canes and the under. And the Blue Jackets versus Oilers, I didn't listen to my gut on this game. I took the over. I didn't take a side because I know the Oilers on 3 days rest. The Oilers suck on 3 days rest. They have for a long time. And as far as I'm concerned, you can chalk that up to poor character. That's poor character to consistently solid character teams like Seattle right now, for instance, win in bad spots. The Oilers, or win in down spots. The Oilers never have. There is a character problem in that room, I believe. I don't know where it is, and for a long time. So I'm thinking it's a room culture problem that they have to solve in a grand scope thing to do. A grand scope. There's a character problem in that room. And honestly, I'm not in the room. I don't know what it is, but they consistently lose in these spots. I didn't take a side. If I did, I would have took the Blue Jackets because of this. Because they had a couple days off. They won a couple games. They got the Blue Jackets coming up. So they all went golfing and mind off of hockey, blah, 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 blah. Come back and they looked like it. And this is a team that, it's not like this is a team. It wouldn't be so bad if this was a team that was first in the Pacific, like we were just talking about Dallas, who's in a pretty comfortable spot there. This isn't a team in a comfortable spot. This is a team that needs wins like now. They had a shit first half, and they go off and act like Columbus is nothing and with no legs and can't pass the puck to each other. Obviously, their minds were not on hockey in their 3 days off. And that is inexcusable in the spot that they are right now. So that's been the thorn in the side of the Oilers for a long time. And it came back to bite them again. I had the over, I lost the over. I took a live bet of the over 5.5. I thought, okay, there's going to be some goals here. I missed it. But I was up 8 units yesterday, so it worked out all right. All right, Jacket, talk to you later. Finally, the game that put me over the top, everybody I heard was on the Canucks last night. Everybody that I talked to, and this one I didn't get talked off of at all. Hey, how you doing, Steele? Welcome in. This one I didn't get talked off at all. There is a trend that happens when you fire a coach in season, that you always take them like the first couple games. You take the team where the coach got fired. It's a trend. It's a reasonable trend. It's a good trend. I mean, I can't take the stats away. The stats say that that's what you do. All right. However, Rick Tocchet. And that was the other thing. A lot of people were on the under in this game. Okay, so they get Rick Tocchet in. Bruce Boudreau, I think, listening to everything that happened here, Bruce Boudreau is a pretty loosey-goosey coach. He's a player's coach. He's kind of like, I think he kind of makes excuses here and there. And things were pretty loose there. That's why they could, their offense was all right. But, they would give up a lot of defense. But I'm not going to put it all on him. We'll bring up, I could go, I don't know if you guys want to hear it again or if you've ever heard me talk about it before. From the beginning of the year, when I had Vancouver to be second worst in the Pacific, And people said, how can you say that? Look at all the, well, I'll tell you how I can say that. And I still say it and it's not going to change. Quinn Hughes, top line, no doubt, great offensive defenseman, not good defensively, but it's okay. His offense makes up for it, no big deal. Luke Shen has got to be one of the most overrated defensemen in the league. They say he's a shutdown defenseman, but he's not that great defensively, actually, and he provides little to no offense whatsoever. He started out the year getting points, but they were second assists. He just passed up to the forwards there that are great. Their forwards are great. And this is the reason why everybody said, how do you think that they can, be second worst? Because you got Kuzmenko, Peterson, Mikheyev, Miller, who, by the way, and I give Tkachuk credit for this, had the second least 5-on-5 minutes last night. Thank you, Mr. Thank you very much. Rick Tocchet, I believe, correctly identified that JT Miller is brutal 5-on-5. Absolutely brutal. And they got him for a shit ton of money. So maybe he listens here. Probably not. JT Miller's a whiny bitch. Sorry. I have no idea why. Apparently, one of the reasons why they weren't happy with Boudreau is that he was backing JT Miller, and they're having serious buyer's remorse. And I don't blame him, because you should. He's so yeah, you got Bo Horvat, who they're probably going to trade now because of JT Miller. You got Brock Besser. You got tons of offense in the top 12. There's really nothing wrong with this top 12 if you can get JT Miller's head out of his ass. But Oliver Ekman-Larsson, that's got to go down as one of the worst deals ever. I don't know what the hell they were thinking. Of course, that was Benning when he made that deal. Tyler Myers is barely an NHL player now, making $6 million for the next 2 years. He is so bad defensively, and he's 6'8". If you ever listen to a Vancouver broadcast, they'll tell you he's 6'8" over and over and over and over again. That means jack shit if you are positionally horrible and cough up the puck all over the place. Carry the puck way too far into the offensive zone and don't have a clue what to do with it. His hockey IQ is not NHL level and never has been. And so you're getting the idea here. Travis Dermott shouldn't be in the league. Kyle Burrows shouldn't be in the league. And then you got, Demko having his injury problems and Spencer Martin and D'Elia. But somehow Rick Tocchet, just because they beat a Chicago team that doesn't give a shit, somehow Rick Tocchet is going to, in 2 days, magically make this team play defense better. No, not a freaking chance. And not only that, the change in the flow of the room from Rick Tocchet from Boudreau, these guys aren't going to know what hit them. And that's what I did. I took Seattle -1.5. I had Seattle and reg. I had Seattle team total over 3.5. I had team total over. I had Seattle to beat them to the plane after the game. In every single way, Seattle's going to win that game. They just came off of a 7-game road trip. They won 7 in a row. They came back. They lost to Tampa Bay, which I knew they would, because how the heck are you going to be on a 7-game Eastern road trip, play Tampa when you come home? Think about it. You get home and you have to, you're packed. You got to say hi to the kids. Everybody disbands to their houses and they got their life things to work with and everything. And then you got to get back together again in a different flow and play Tampa Bay. You ain't winning that game. No way. And if they did, it would have been like heroism. But here's the thing. After that, and I admit, I did not have Seattle being this good. I'm going to say that right now. No, I did not have Seattle being this good. But after that, I'll go back to last week. As you can tell, I have lots of time to do this broadcast today. After that, where is that Tampa Bay game? No, that's okay. Yeah. Seattle. Where are you? Oh, yeah. After that, they play a back-to-back against the Oilers. And they win it. That is sick. No. Did they win that game? Or did they lose that game? I can't remember now. I don't think they did win that game. Somebody help me out. Did they win that game? I can't remember. But they won the one against New Jersey, and they shouldn't have won that. And Colorado, or barely, New Jersey just barely beat them or something like that, which it should have been a blowout. They just did a 7-game road trip, hit a back-to-back, played 3 games in 4 nights, and then 6 games in 4 nights. And they beat Colorado. That was crazy. Then they get 3 days off. They beat teams in bad spots all over the place. And then Vancouver's going to come and beat you? No way. This Seattle team is for real, man. For real. No doubt about it. I'm on them all the way now. All the way. They're doing things that just teams don't do. Like good teams, really good teams. They're winning in spots like I didn't have them on against Boston. Their 7th game of a road trip against the best home team in the league, and they won. I was sold after that. I'm sold on Seattle all the way now. I don't know if they're going to win a cup, but I'm telling you, the first series, who are they going to play right away? Who would they play right now if they let's see. Seattle, they're first in the Pacific, which is awesome, with games in hand yet. So they're going to play like Calgary or who's ahead? Dallas has got more points. Yeah, Dallas would play. Right now, Dallas would play Edmonton would play Seattle. Edmonton ain't winning that series. We just talked about it right now, and that's why. It's amazing that it just happened. I didn't even know. If Seattle and Edmonton play, I am all over Seattle to win that series. All over it. Because Edmonton doesn't have the character to beat a team like Seattle. No freaking way. No way. And then they would play Vegas or Los Angeles. I think they're winning that too. I think they're winning that too. Western Finals. Up against Colorado. That probably would hose them down, I would think. Colorado or Dallas. But Western Finals. Yeah, I thought they would be better this year. I didn't think they'd be this good. I'll be the first to admit it. Ron Francis has done a brilliant job putting that together. Now, the one thing I am concerned about, though, still, we'll see how it goes, is will Jones and Grubauer hold up? I mean, Jones has played well sometimes. I'm still a little concerned about the goaltending. That would probably prevent him from winning a cup or getting past the Western Finals. But, I mean, right now, the way that team is grooving, I'm not getting off of that train. No way, buddy. All right, let's look at today's games then. Okay, we got Detroit versus Montreal. Montreal is ass. Allen is going to be in net, apparently. First game back, playing in a long time. Now, if I remember correctly, Allen usually does very well in these spots. When he's had like lots of time off, he doesn't usually get very rusty because he spent most of his time as a backup. So he's actually really usually pretty good in these spots. So I can't really go on that. I can't really go on Allen being rusty here. But I can go on Montreal just being complete ass. No Caulfield. I'm taking Detroit here. If you don't, I'm taking Detroit. Probably in regulation. Like, Pitlick, Suzuki, and Josh Anderson is your top line. Hoffman, I mean, retire, dude. Retire. Do everybody a favor and retire. Kirby Doc, I love him. Great pickup. Jesse Alonen, Raphael, Harvey, Pinard, Dvorak, and Evgeny freaking Dadonov, who is already in Russia pretty much. He's already home in Russia in his mind. Like, this is his last contract, I believe. Yeah, the end of this contract, that guy is so far in Europe, he will never have to speak English again. There's no need that he's done. He's gone. Michael Matheson's their best defenseman right now. I don't need to say much more than that. Savard is no good anymore. Joel Edmondson never really was. And then there's a bunch of kids that are wearing down through the season that could be good eventually. And Jake Allen, who may be rusty, but probably won't be. I'll give him that. But it don't matter. It don't matter. Detroit's winning that game. So, Detroit is, okay, look at the standings. Detroit, in their minds anyways, I'm sure, how come it's not showing me the wild card? Wild card. Yeah. Detroit, in their minds, whether they're 48 points, they probably still think they can make it. They're 8 points back. I mean, you're not going to not think you can make it, but they have something to play for. And they're not a great team, don't get me wrong. Mostly because they've had some injuries, and they signed Sherratt to a ridiculous contract. And they've had some regression from Lucas Raymond, which isn't too surprising, but he'll be fine. 32 points in 46 games is great. They kind of got the lingering over their head thing going on with Dylan Larkin there. And I said it when they signed it. I mean, I didn't like Andrew. Andrew Kopp's not a second-line center. It's just not. They need a second-line center. However, there's enough in this lineup. And this is Ben Sherratt going back to Montreal. There's that little lean there. Husso hasn't, like I kind of thought he would. Hasn't been spectacular, but he's been okay. But this lineup's good enough to beat Montreal fairly easily if they're trying this game. So I'm taking Detroit. Would I ever do AHL? I'll tell you what. If I get when I get enough subscribers over at bpalpicks.com that this is my full-time job, I'll probably go to AHL too. But capping takes a lot of time. As you can tell, as I'm doing every one of these things, it takes a lot of time to cap. And if I got to do a job on top of it, I with a family, I don't have time to do any other sport or any other league right now. But once I have enough people where this is my full-time job, and it's getting there, then yeah, I probably would consider it, no doubt about it. All right, Boston, Tampa Bay. Tough one, man. How do you go against Boston here? I mean, I'll do it. I haven't been able to talk to you guys about this whole Boston, and I admit I didn't think Boston was going to be able to do what they did, but I'll tell you what. We talked about the Islanders with their culture. This Boston culture is insane. It's insane. These guys obviously came into this season in the best shape of their lives. I will say that right now. All of them. They put it together. They said, look, we're going to come in. We're going to go for it this year. Can you put everything away? Can you just focus on getting yourself physically, mentally set for this season? And everybody bought in. Because Boston is winning games easily. Like, they look like they're not trying. They are so far physically fit ahead of any other team right now, and that's why they're winning. And the more I talk about it like this, like Tampa Bay is going to put up a fight tonight. They lost against Boston in Boston last game. But I can't take them. I don't think I can take them. Because I just think Boston's in that zone. They want to stick it to everybody right now. I mean, they could win this game, no doubt about it. I don't think I'm going to play this game on the side anyways. I would lean under 6 because I think this is going to be a super hard fought. But I'm seeing a very, the older guys on this team. Oh, and I remember last year too. Tampa Bay, when it came to the break, they lost against a whole bunch of people they shouldn't have lost against. Now, this isn't that. So I think they're going to play their balls off in this game. Who do they play after this? I'm going to give you a good lean after this. Who do they play after this? You want to talk about a dog game. Who does Tampa Bay play after this? They play out. They'll lose to LA. Mark my words. They're going to lose to LA in that game. They may win this one. I could see it being a draw. But they're not beating LA. I'll bet you. That's going to be a dog pick for me all day. I'll tell you that right now. But I'm still going to lean Boston here. This Tampa Bay team will give it their full effort, but Boston has been winning without much effort. So if you want to give them some effort, okay, bring it on. Let's go. And you got Allmark in net, stopping everything. You got Vasilevsky, who's not. He's been really good, but has he been Allmark? No. Like right now, Allmark has got to get the Vezina, right? So I think I would, but I could definitely see Tampa Bay fighting their way into a win here. Definitely. So I'm not going to play the side. I would sprinkle a little bit on the draw here. I don't think you're going to get much money on it though, because I think the draw is, you're not going to probably get very good odds on the draw here because it's priced minus 110 each. So on both sides, it's a pick 'em. I think Tampa Bay is a slight dog. Maybe parlay Tampa Bay plus 1.5 with something. That would be a pretty solid play. Something like that. Oh, Daryl, sorry, I didn't see that. I think the Kraken can beat the Golden Knights, Oilers, but Avalanche? Yeah, Avalanche, I think that'd be as far as they go. I agree. Pittsburgh, Washington. I don't know what to do with this game. I like the over, but I'm not sure I like it at 6.5. What I think I'm going to do in this game is I'm going to wait for the game to start and hope there's no goals in like the first 4 or 5 minutes and try to catch an over at 6. I can't trust DeSmith to stop pucks. Washington is coming off a 3-game road trip, Western road trip. They just flew 3.5 hours from Colorado to play this game. But I can't trust Pittsburgh right now with DeSmith and net. That being said, if Washington's going to score goals on DeSmith, even if they're a little heavy-legged, which they probably will, Pittsburgh's going to barrel down offensively. I would think that Pittsburgh kind of knows that they're going to have to outscore Washington tonight because DeSmith ain't doing the job. So in the back of your mind, subconsciously, you would think, okay, well, they're going to play really defensive to protect their goaltender. Probably not, because you got to score something against Washington. And if you try to play really defensive against Washington, they'll pin you into your own zone all day. That's one thing they have. They're very physical, big team. You can't do that. You got to get it going back and forth against Washington to win. If you got good goaltending, you can get away with that a little bit, but they don't. So they could even try that. Washington's probably going to score first then. And then Pittsburgh's going to have to open up somewhere along the way here. So even at 6.5, I probably go the over at plus money here. But I like it a lot better because Washington hasn't been scoring the lights out as of late. Maybe they've been looking ahead to this game a bit. Yeah, they lost 3-2, 6-2. They scored 4 against Arizona, only 2 against Minnesota, 4 against a bad defense with the Islanders. Now, they haven't been popping. Now, I believe at home, though, that changes. Let's see. See how they've been at home as of late. Minnesota, they did not score much. No, not really. Scoring has been an issue. But DeSmith is a really good tonic for scoring issues. So, tough one. Kemper's good. Kemper's been really good this year. I'm sure he's going to be in. Can't see any. Yeah, it's got to be Kemper. Yeah, Kemper versus DeSmith. It's tough. If they weren't coming off that Western road trip, I'd be on the Capitals probably. But I think if I had to, I'd say Pittsburgh here, even with DeSmith in net. The Capitals are terrible coming off in bad spots. Again, in the regular season, usually. They'll probably get up for this game. Let's look at Washington. Let's make sure Ovechkin is in. That's right. There's been some injury issues going on here with this game. Ovechkin is in. He's going to be up for this game for sure. Milano, Backstrom hasn't really got his groove on since he come back. And yeah, their defense is not good. Kemper is good. So I'm kind of leaning Pittsburgh. And then I'm going to try to do an in-game over. Because it kind of... The thing is, if Pittsburgh's going to win, it's probably going to be an over because they're going to score some against DeSmith. Unless they're so flat-legged they can't get anything going. But more likely you're going to score on DeSmith. He's been just letting goals in left, right, and center. So, yeah, that's what I say there. What do we got next? New Jersey and Nashville. I'm actually going to lean Nashville here. They've been my buy team for a while now. I think, yeah, and they've owned New Jersey 9-0-1. They haven't lost to New Jersey in 10 games. Now, that being said, New Jersey was not New Jersey now when they played those games. The thing is, Nashville, I find anyways, New Jersey has a difficult time with grinding teams. They still have a tough time grinding out wins. And I know New Jersey's road record is cray-cray. Okay, I'm not putting a ton on this game. I'm not. I could definitely see New Jersey winning this. But I think I like the plus money. It's moved to a 5.5. I should have put that in as a 6, or is it? Oh, it's a 6. I like the under 6 too. I like the under 6. Saros is a beast right now. I think New Jersey is going to be playing as defensively strong as they possibly can, and they don't score much. So Nashville, I mean. So if Nashville's going to win, it's probably going to be an under. I don't think they're going to win like 5-2 or something like that against New Jersey. In fact, if that's the score, it's probably New Jersey winning. Maybe Saros has a bit of a bad game. And New Jersey, they've been grinding out wins, kind of like barely winning, but they haven't been winning handily. They didn't win. They didn't win handily against Vegas. In fact, they darn well almost lost that game. We just talked about Pittsburgh, where they're not really in their very good form, and they just barely beat them. They lost to Seattle. Okay, that was the win, the Seattle win we were talking about. I was really surprised Seattle won that game. It was a terrible spot for them. And even San Jose, they won 4-3. Before that, they were flying. But things have just got a little tougher for New Jersey. And I think a lot of that has to do with this. Still have a young lineup. And you're getting into that kind of season where you can see the break coming. And all those aches and pains are there. And you got Nashville coming in, who I believe last year, they had the most fighting majors of any team last year. And this year, they're way down. But I believe they're going to start playing like that again in the second half. And it's just, I get the feeling, like my feeling is Nashville's coming for a war here. And I don't think New Jersey's prepared for the war. So I'm going to take Nashville and the under here. I'm gonna live on my story here. I'm gonna live on my story. And they've been playing a lot better as of late, Nashville. If you look at their last couple games here, yeah, they beat Vegas 3-2. Pittsburgh, they beat Pittsburgh 2-1 as well. No, what am I talking about? They beat Winnipeg 2-1, good win. Beat LA 5-3. Beat Columbus, just barely scraped by, but that's what Nashville does. Just barely scrape by against Calgary. They're 4 for their last 5. And you're getting plus money at home against a New Jersey team that's been barely beat at winning games. I think Nashville is a live dog here. I think Nashville's a live dog. I like Nashville. All right, Buffalo versus Winnipeg. Buffalo's got 3 games in 4 nights, but this is a team, when they get on a roll, they usually roll. And they're on a roll. And I think I'm just going to keep on rolling with them. And also, Winnipeg has been my sell team for the second half. I don't believe in this defense. I don't believe in this defense on paper. Let's look at Winnipeg's defense on paper. I know they've been doing really well. The forwards have been coming back and helping out the defense a lot. And I think they're getting tired. Because people will say, like I hear it all the time, people will say, well, our defense would be better if our forwards came back. I don't know if you ever played the game, but if you're playing a full ice surface every single game and basically having to play defense for your defensemen, you're going to get tired, man. It's not the way it's supposed to be played. That's the reason why you got a team like Colorado who has these puck-moving defensemen where their forwards don't have to come back and play defense all game long. And they're good defensively as well. Winnipeg doesn't have that. Dylan DeMello has been having a career year, though. Absolutely fantastic. Way undervalued. $3 million a year. He's looked amazing. Joshua Morrissey, of course, also having a career year. He's actually average defensively this year, where he usually was just complete ass. And, of course, he's putting up huge numbers. Pionk is having a terrible year, though. He was normally their best defenseman. He's their worst defenseman right now. Well, besides maybe Nate Schmidt. And then you got Logan Stanley in there. Who are they scratching? You're scratching Sandberg for Stanley? Are you freaking mad? Maybe he's getting tired. He's still young, I guess, but Logan Stanley's ass. He's complete ass. I don't care how big. Oh, he's strong and he can hurt people, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that has value, but not when you play like Logan Stanley. The guy's, he's got nothing. He's terrible defensively, horrible offensively. He's not an NHL caliber defenseman. So with that in mind, I think Buffalo's offense, if they got young legs to keep going here, I think they can win this game. I think they can win this game. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the offense for Winnipeg. Their top six is really good. Adam Lowry's a little overrated, but overall it's good. But their defense is not good. And all of these players are perfectly willing to come back and help out the defensemen, no doubt about that. But they've been doing it all year, and I just think they're going to tire. I think they're going to wear out. They can't wait for the break here. I have a feeling this team can't wait for the break because I think their forwards are starting to wear out. So, well, let's look at that bears out with the last couple games that they've been playing. Winnipeg. Now they beat Philly 5-3, Ottawa 5-1. They lost to Toronto. They lost Montreal. Beating Philly and Ottawa. Philly, that was a good win, actually. They did fight pretty hard there. I believe Hart was in net, though, and he did not have a good night. No, it was Sandstrom. That's what it was. They beat Sandstrom in that. I mean, beating Forsberg in net for Ottawa is nothing to, write home about. As soon as they came up against Juicy Saros, they were actually outplayed by Nashville in that game. And, as you can see, their record is dwindling going into the break. Maybe after the break, I'll be back on them a little bit, but I think that they are screaming for a break right now. That's what I think. So I'm going to go with Buffalo on this one. Let's see. Buffalo, again, look at 4 wins in a row. One great win against Dallas. Go against St. Louis, which is easier competition. As long as they can keep their legs, I think they have a really good shot to win another one on the road here again. Next. Oh, and over under. That's a tough one. I think I'd fade it because Buffalo could certainly. I mean, Hellebuyck's in net. Buffalo could pepper Winnipeg and still go under here. I think it's going to be Anderson in net for. They don't know yet. It's probably going to be Anderson here. So Winnipeg could pot a couple. Winnipeg's fully capable of potting a couple. I think it would be. I would lean to the over. But I know a lot of people are going to be the under because they say the Jets are such a good defensive team right now. But I think that's going to fade here. I really do. Tough one for the total. I would lean to the over, though. Philadelphia versus Minnesota. Interesting. Both of these teams play like the same type of game. And I believe they just played each other not too long ago. Did they? Oh, no. No, they didn't. Philadelphia's first game on the road, they lost to LA. They lost to Winnipeg. It's probably going to be Carter Hart on the road again, and he's back to his can't win on the road again shit. I'm not huge. I hear a lot of people high on Minnesota. I personally am not high on Minnesota. I can't be that high on a team that has their number one center. I'm going to look it up here as Steele. Sam Steele is your number one center. And then, Eck is fantastic. He's probably really their number one. But they're not strong up the middle. And I'm never strong on a team that's not strong up the middle. We don't want to be weak up the middle now, do we, boys and girls? No, never. Never do you want that. You know, the Wings are good. They're going to have Dumba back in again. I think Minnesota probably wins this game. But I think Philadelphia will put up a good fight. They always do. I hope if they play Gustafsson, I think I'll go Minnesota and the under here. If Gustafsson is in net. No, they got Fleury. Fleury's one of my favorite people in the land, but he's really struggling this year. I think this could be his last year. Fleury against Hart. Just don't touch the total. Hart on the road is not that great. I don't know if Minnesota's going to want to go up and down with the Flyers here. It's kind of tough that way. What is the total? That might help me. It's probably a 6. That feels like right on the total if it's a 6. Yeah. That feels like it's right on the total. So I'll probably leave the total alone. But I leave Minnesota. I mean, I should change my odds. I always forget to do that for you American people there. I should change the odds. American. Okay. Let's see, where are we going again? How come it didn't go American? Oh, apply filter. Okay. Minus 238. So you got to take them in reg. I don't really like taking. I don't really like playing Minnesota in regulation. Like they just barely scrape by games. I may just have to leave this one alone. Let's look at their. I'm going to look at this one more time. How Philadelphia on the road. Let's look at the road splits. So Minnesota's killer as a fave, though. So yeah, Philadelphia's got a winning record on the road. This could be a lot closer than people think. Philadelphia might be wearing down, though, quite a bit as well because they don't have very good replacement players. And, Tortorella rides his guys pretty hard. Yeah, I lean Minnesota. Maybe two pick parlay at money line. 2-pick parlay money line. I was going to look at the roster for Philadelphia. Okay, let's look at it real quick. Looking at the roster for Philadelphia, it doesn't really tell you all that much, though, because Tortorella gets so much more out of this roster. But take a quick look at it. Maybe it'll help me find a weakness here that Minnesota can expose. Yeah, they're not great up the middle either, right? So, yeah, I'm going to go Minnesota. We got Noah Cates. Morgan Frost has been improving much more than I thought he would. But, I mean, still not a great center. Sealard. Anthony Giangelo is always good for a cough up. And like I said, Carter Hart on the road has not been good. So, yeah, I'll go Minnesota. St. Louis, Arizona. I don't like this game. St. Louis should win this game, even though they are pretty banged up. And I believe Tarasenko's back in tonight. And it seems like Arizona, they're dying. They are fading down the stretch here pretty hard. I would have to think St. Louis wins this game, but I mean, why is it still showing me Canadian odds? Huh? Why? St. Ous minus 161. Okay, no, it's not. That's actually a pretty reasonable price. I know the Blues have been struggling, but against an Arizona team who really, but they beat Vegas 4-1. Vegas didn't even show up for that game. They lost to Anaheim, lost big time to Dallas, lost big time to Washington. You know, had a scraped it out against Detroit. Yeah, I gotta take St. Louis. St. Louis needs this win too, and they're just coming off of 2 losses. I don't like St. Louis's flow, but this feels like a game where they like, okay, we got to win this game. I think they have to win this game in their minds. It's really like if you lose this game, I have a feeling that they believe that if they lose this game, there's a sense that they're done. You got to beat Arizona here. And so they should come in and gather together and be focused and play this game well. I don't like Binnington. As far as the total is concerned, and there's the other thing, it's probably going to be Vejmelka here. I would lean under just because Vejmelka can Vejmelka you. It's an actual oh, wait. Once we get to that game, I didn't realize that, but that's okay. It's still not too bad. They're not saying, but Vejmelka. The other bad thing here is they could end up playing Grice. St. Louis, that is. So I think St. Louis at very least is kind of come out hard in the first period. So I kind of like St. Louis minus 0.5 first period, something like that. I got a lot of all those things. And by the way, I'm not telling you, I'm not playing all these. I'm not playing all these. I have my favorites in these games, and you can be part of that at bpalpicks.com. I have my favorites. Those are the ones I'm going to play. I do play a lot of games. I have 2 packages now. One where you get like 2-3 picks, kind of my best picks, and another one that's high volume. And people ask me like, why would I get high volume when I can just get your best picks? Because I hit so much on high volume that if I lose on a big pick, I make it up on my lesser picks. So over time, you make way more money in high volume. But in the high volume one, you got to have stacks, man. I'm playing like heavy units. The people in my high volume groups, they're professional bettors. It's what they do for a living. They bet for a living. So I give them picks all day, and they just put them in there, and they're up, I don't know, they're up a shitload of money, let's put it that way. They make a ton of money. So my low volume guys, they do well, no doubt about it, very well. But high volume, those guys are huge making money. This year, last year even more so. Last year was insane. Okay. Oh yeah, what was I got to find out if in St. Louis. See, Tarasenko. I got something with Tarasenko if you want to go over to BPAL. I also got a 10-day package there too. Or sorry, $10 one-day package. Or you can get my best pick for $10. There's lots of options. Tarasenko is in tonight. There's a question of how good he's going to be. He's been out for a while, out for a little bit. But I think it's enough to push them over the top here and get just the feeling of knowing that Tarasenko's back. Oh, their defense is terrible, though. Krug is back, too. Krug is back. Yeah. I mean, they got to win that game. They have to. It's imperative that they win this game. Standings-wise, seriously, this is a very important game for St. Louis. And I've said it all along, if X team is going into Arizona and they need that win, they're probably going to win. Arizona wins when people are like looking ahead to someone else, or they're like way ahead of them. They're way ahead in the standings, and they probably go golfing in Arizona the night before and stuff like that. But St. Louis is 6 points behind Calgary at the moment. And the break is coming up right now. They need every single freaking win. So give me St. Louis in regulation. St. Louis in regulation. I really like that play tonight. There you go. That'll be one for my clients for sure. I'm probably going to play St. Louis in regulation. That's the one play I'm going to give you that I give my clients. Chicago versus Calgary. Calgary's got to have this game. I don't trust Calgary. It's going to be Markstrom in net, from what I gather, and Mrazek in net. With that being in mind, Chicago just got their ass spanked by Vancouver last game. And I don't think that's going to change much here. But you're getting terrible odds on Calgary. Calgary's a good first period team, so you might want to look Calgary minus 0.5 first period. But I think I probably will go the over. And, that's minus 120 right now. That might move to a 6.5. No, it's not. Minus 105. That seems like a safe bet. The hard thing about that, of course, is Chicago has a difficult time scoring. But Markstrom has not been good this year. So, and after getting spanked last game against Vancouver, I think they're probably going to be playing here against Calgary pretty well. I don't think they're going to win it, but I think they're going to play well. And so I'll go the over 6. Chicago will get a couple, and Calgary, maybe Calgary team total over. Wouldn't be a bad thing. As long as Mrazek's in net, you probably are good doing something like that. Surprised, no chatter today. Everybody's just all in the zone, getting the pearls are just flowing over everyone right now. They're just mesmerized. Okay, maybe not. Maybe you just don't want to listen. Don't want to talk. Anaheim versus Colorado. I don't care about the juice. It's minus 145. Colorado minus 1.5. Anaheim's been on the road forever. The only thing that has me a little bit concerned about this game is they are coming in with confidence after beating Arizona. And you'll say, confidence after beating Arizona? Yeah. Anaheim, these are all young kids. They're learning to be confident that you are as good as you are is one of the hardest things to do. And beating Arizona handily, it's going to give you a feeling of confidence. Now, that being said, the first period of this game, if Colorado's on it, which they should be because they're barely in a playoff spot right now, that can hurt your confidence pretty quick. If you got that can bring your confidence down pretty quick. Let me see what's going on here with Colorado. Because they had injuries. Can we have a no, that's Columbus. Ugh. Awful looking. How did I miss Colorado there? Colorado, right there. Can we have nope, we can't. I would have loved to have had a Cale Makar sighting here. I don't know what's wrong with him, man. Upper body injury there. I don't know what it is. Just had a cool little trade where they picked up Ryan Merkley. I don't know what they're thinking there. They're going to play him tonight. He's not an NHL defenseman. But Taves, Johnson, Girard alone should be able to handle anything that Anaheim can give them. They got a nice little homecoming. They made a trade for Matt Nieto, if you didn't know. Matt Nieto and Ryan Merkley, who's been known to have an attitude problem even when he was drafted. He fell down the draft because of his attitude. and now he has to trade for a trade from San Jose, and he ends up in Colorado. So we'll see how he does with Colorado and their leadership people there. He'll probably get his what's forwards if he wants to have an attitude in Colorado for sure. But you got Lehkonen, McKinnon, Nichushkin, Kopfer, Rantanen as your top six. That coming down on you in the first period, if they come out barreling, which I would have to imagine they should. They aren't coming back off a road trip or anything, Colorado. No, they just played the Capitals. They beat the Capitals handily. They need to win. They got St. Louis after this. They've highlighted this in their schedule to win all these games. So, yeah, I'll take, even though it's juiced up, and I very seldom do this. Very seldom do I take a heavily juiced -1.5, but I'm going to do it. I'm taking Colorado -1.5 and -145. I can't see them not winning by 2 in this game. I just can't see it. Especially, they've been playing Stolars a lot. John Gibson is expected, but he's been ass. Pavel Francouz, he's good enough to win that game. So team total over 3.5, but it's probably it's probably heavily juiced. Let's take a look. This is Play Alberta, by the way. If you can find it online, great site for team total overs, second period overs, first period overs. This site is the best. Anaheim Ducks team total under 2.5. It's heavy juice, but I might even do that even again. I don't mind playing heavy juice games. Juice if it's like really, really likely it's going to happen. And if Colorado is playing their strong defensive game and going balls out here, there's a really, really, really good chance that Anaheim doesn't score more than 2 goals. Like 9-1. So, yeah, it's heavily juiced at -200, but 9-1. You think, if you play heavy juice, half your money every year. Say you play $100. You make $50 on every game that you played -2.5 here with that juice at 9 out of 10 shot. So you lose 100 once, so that takes away 2. Now you got 7 times 5, $350. You made $350 in your pocket playing heavy juice. So I'm not against heavy juice sometimes if it's an absolute. So I might put that in. Now, Colorado's team total over, though. I think I like that better than Colorado's team total over. And I like Colorado's team total over here. And I bet you that is even more juiced. No, same juice for Colorado team total over. If you want to get really funky, go 4.5 for 5 goals for Colorado. Let's look at the matchup. See what we can find here. Colorado lately. Yeah, they haven't been scoring enough. But look, they've been scoring against bad teams. They beat Ottawa 7-0, Detroit 6-3. That's because they need every win. They only scored 4 against Vancouver, though. No shame in only getting 2 against Seattle. And they barely beat Washington. I would say Anaheim team total under 2.5 at -2, minus like 195 or whatever that is. That's probably a pretty good play. I would throw that in there. Maybe if your bookie lets you parlay that with something. That wouldn't be a bad idea. All right, I've been on long here. Holy smokes. I gave you guys all the pearls in the land and more. I'm going to have to go I'm going to have to go fashion me up some more pearls. I'm going to have to get Helen to grind out a crap load. We are dangerously low on pearls here, for sure. So I'm going to let you guys go now. You're going to go off and make your bets, make some money. And I'm surprised you didn't talk to me the whole time. You were just so content in listening and taking the pearls. It was pretty cool. Have a great day, everybody. That's my full 42.